A recent shipment of resources at this facility appears to have been carrying an airborne alien virus, which was responsible for causing exceptionally violent and mad behavior among the workers of the station. It is your own benefit to work quickly, as the virus will only affect those exposed to it for extended periods of time. Alright, thanks for joining me. This is a map done by Card Thief, and I actually can't believe I never got this up on the channel. I don't know what happened. So thanks for joining me. Thank you for the support on the earlier videos. Card Thief is definitely a classic map maker. He's got the classic maps. I think this one. I mean, I can't believe that there would be a map of Card Thieves that I didn't play, but I'm gonna be brutally honest. It doesn't look familiar at all. So, maybe it was a map that I missed altogether. Possibility? Alright. Some of it is vaguely familiar in that, like, there's some things I recognize and remember, and then there's other things that I don't. Now, is this... Yeah. I'm just painting. Alright, I guess let's stick to my... Oh, noise. Oh, noise. I don't know what happened there. Well, you know, make your question of it. You. Okay, I'll have one left. Pretty sure these all lead to nothing. Card Thief is famous for hiding things. So this looks familiar. So I'm trying to keep an eye on my phone. I ordered DoorDash because I'm hungry. It's a pretty large map, so there's definitely going to be in pieces, or in parts, I should say. On the vending machine. No, I think I had to make a guess. I don't think I ever finished this map. And that is why I'm struggling with it. Pozol. That's pozol. There. No clean. You burn? You burn. You burn. Alright. I bet TNT go boom. I bet it go boom. I'm stacking there. Uh-oh. 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 I'm kind of consumed to think about what I'm going to do with that flare that's stuck there. Okay. This is stacking crates. Alright. There. Fun story. I kind of knew I was going to die there because I saw how my character kind of got like phased through the floor. Alright. That's unfortunate. So it's a vanilla speed mop machine, which is hilarious because we've been so used to the faster speeds that now I feel like I'm in slow-mo. I was just thinking one day I should go to back to one of the vanilla maps and see how well I do after playing the player-made maps for nearly 2 years now. I think it's probably been 2 years since I played a vanilla map. I don't even know if I remember what they're like. Boring, probably. I've talked about it before in previous videos, so sorry for those who binge watch my Viscera, but I always feel like it's something that needs to be talked about. So, I had left Viscera for a long time. Like, I played it, I put in a lot of hours, but at that time I only played with other people. And, I guess... Sorry. Brain shut down for a second. When I was playing with other people, first I was playing with an ex-boyfriend, who actually was the one that got me into the game. And we had a really good time, but we had a bad breakup. Long story short, he cheated. I found out blah, blah, blah. But it had killed my love for the game for a while. And then I came back and I was playing with other people. Actually, someone who was streaming at the time. And his channel had really liked having a female on board, because as I am when I play solo, I'm very task focused. I want to clean, I want to make the place tidy, and those guys were very much let's mess it all up. And so kind of the funny thing with that is, it was like wrangling cats to try to, get them to pay attention. And while I had an immeasurable amount of fun with them, it also burnt me out of the game, because trying to wrangle cats. So, okay, now that I told you that backstory, I left and hadn't come back for quite some time. And then one day I was randomly working. At the time I was working as a printer for a print shop. And I remember it vividly. I was calibrating business cards, which is a boring task. It's repetitive and blah. So anyway, I was doing that, and I don't know, for some reason it popped into my head, Viscera, maybe because of the repetitiveness, and I was like, man, I kind of miss mopping, and that was what popped into my head, and I was like, alright, I'm coming back. Which, so that was about the same time that the pandemic hit. Roughly the same time, give or take. And I decided to leave my printer job, and I started to work from home. And I also decided to start streaming, and lo and behold, I'm back into Viscera. And I decided, at the time I wasn't going to stream Viscera. I didn't come back to stream it. But it just happenstance, I was like, oh, I'll just do one video. And lo and behold, everyone surprised me by how much they loved Viscera. I was not anticipating people liking Viscera. I thought... I don't know what I thought, but I didn't think anybody was going to like Viscera. I thought it was going to be a small niche and people would grow bored of one video and that would be it. And lo and behold, you guys surprised me by actually really enjoying it. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for loving it, because you made me keep playing. But when I was thinking about Viscera that day, when I was thinking about mopping and so on, I was picturing maps in my head. And I was like, man, I really want to play those maps. I hadn't realized that the maps that I was picturing in my head were all player-made maps, especially player-made maps made by a janitor, car thief, cannon fodder. At that time, they had the maps that I had played before I left were, I think they were just doing a Halloween theme event where they kind of had like a competition with each other. And made some really, really fantastic maps. And that's what I was picturing. So all the maps that I was actually genuinely missing and really had nostalgia for, turns out wasn't the game vanilla maps that I left. They were all player-made maps. And I came back to that surprise, I guess, where I was flipping through the vanilla maps, and I'm like, why are all these so boring? And lo and behold, it's because I was not playing the maps that I was remembering. So, no, you caught it. All right, for you guys to be a snap of a finger, I'll be right back. My DoorDash is here. All right, I am back. I got my order. I didn't order anything too crazy. I actually just did convenience store. I ordered a couple of monsters actually, and some snacky food. It's finally getting cold, though. This has definitely been a state lately, good old Minnesota, where we have had all 4 seasons in a week. Frustrating and funny. But today, happenstance, it's really, really cold. So. Plus it's like, I don't know, 10 o'clock at night. And since I have DoorDash membership, I was like, well, better do this. So I'm gonna, between you and I don't think I actually ever did this map. I wonder if I walked into it and left? I don't know, none of it looks familiar. Well, that's not true, that's a lie. It looks familiar enough that it feels like something that I should recognize, but I don't. Anyway, as I was saying, the maps that I remember and have the most nostalgia about when I thought back to this game was all player-made maps. And the thing that I find funny / frustrating is that goes for a lot of games that I've played that have workshop items. House Flipper, same thing. The items that I was thinking about when I went back to that game turns out to be all workshop items. Elder Scrolls, same thing. Sims 4, the items that I remembered and the characters behaving certain ways was all mods. So I find it frustrating and funny that is a common occurrence in games, that it's the players that make the game better and not the poor people that are getting paid to do so. And I feel the need to defend them. I also know that many game makers are overworked, underpaid, and underappreciated. It's just, even big name games, I just find it, I don't know. It's a commentary, I guess, of the fact that it takes players who are making no money and just a passion for the game to make the game a better. And in some ways even playable. Okay, so anyway, that's my rant on that. and actually the maps that I had missed the most that I was thinking about were the creepy maps too, because I actually came back around October during Halloween. And the scary games that I was thinking of are this... Oh my gosh, mop machine, I'm busy, I'm trying to talk. All the scary maps that I was thinking of were player-made maps. And funny thing is I thought this game was scarier in vanilla. And I was so wrong, it's cheesy in vanilla. I mean, Cannon Fodder made some really good creepy maps. Like, really good. The orphanage and the asylum. He also had a dark room one that was really good. There was also, these maps don't exist anymore. I don't know what happened to them, but they've poofed off the map. Oh, I missed a door. Sparkling fern. Anyway, there was a spoof off of Resident Evil, The Hive. There was actually it even had hands that were scratching at a foggy glass window. That was really creepy. It was like black shadowed hands. I really liked that one, and I can't find that one anymore. There was also another map, again, that I can't find, that was really good, that had a timed door. It was a space... I don't know if it was a space station or a spaceship, but it had a timed cafeteria, like lunch area door. So when you walked in, you could hear people screaming behind a locked door. And I think after about 30 minutes of gameplay, that door just randomly unlocked. And it was all like these dead people. But that whole 30 minutes while you were cleaning, you could hear like the screams behind the door. And that was really, really clever, and I can't find that map either. So if anyone knows the ones that I'm talking about and you know where they are and their names, let me know. I'll re-download them and play them. I haven't seen them. And I promise, I went through the entire list. But so when I left, I had left just before, or no, just after the new maps came out. And I was gone during the release. Okay, there's the fire. I was gone during the release of the James Bond spoof. Yeah. Oh, well, it's going away. So when I came back, I think the map makers can correct me on this. I think it was the James Bond spoof DLC. What is forget the name of it, but I think that's the one that broke all the maps. Or was it the release of like Penitentiary and Uprinsing? Did that break? One of those happenstance broke the maps, but I left around that time, so I guess I don't really. Or I guess I don't really know, I should say. But yeah, so when I came back, some of the maps that I had played no longer existed because they needed to be updated, so bummer days. Actually, there's kind of a funny story too. That Prince store that I worked at, when I felt the need to come back, I actually had carried my laptop with me often to work because I'm also, then and now, I'm a freelance graphic artist. And so I used to bring my laptop, or I shouldn't say used to, I do. I tend to bring one of my laptops with me all the time. And so on my lunch break that day, I had loaded up Viscera, because I still had it downloaded on that computer. And I loaded up Viscera and I was playing it in the break room. And my boss, the store manager, never, ever comes into the break room, but just happenstance. He just was curious what I was doing and came in and saw the bloody mess that I was working on. And I actually wasn't particularly cleaning anything. I was popping into the maps, trying to find a map that I wanted to play when I got home. And being frustrated at that moment because all the maps that I were looking at were none of the maps that I had nostalgia for. Now, I only had the vanilla game downloaded. I didn't have any of the mods installed. And so I was just, like, I was flipping rapidly through all these maps trying to find the one that had been in my head, which so much time has passed, I actually don't remember. I don't remember which map that was that I was looking for, but... Oh, yeah. Frustrating. And as he came in, he was like, "What are you looking at?" Like, he was really disturbed. Like, I don't know, he thought I was playing My Little Pony games. Like, he knew I was a gamer, but I don't know, in his mind, he was picturing me playing Little Pony. But then he ruined it, so... shortly after, I can't remember the time frame, I guess. Around that same time, when he accused me of, like, or acting like all shocked that I played, Viscera of all of games that to be shocked about, we had to take a safety shooting, thing. It was like a video that you watched, and then you took a test about how do you react in an active shooting situation. And randomly, out of nowhere, he says that in the video, when you take it, it says that suspect the people that are least likely the ones that you would think would be the ones to kill you. And he made a offhand comment about he could totally see me coming in with a gun and killing everybody. And I was like, am I insulted? Like, was that an insult or was that a compliment? I'm not sure. And I had a bit of a laugh over it, which I think was his intended purpose. But at the same time, I'm still like, What did he mean by that? I sort of miss him. I'm not gonna lie. I just found out that that place that I worked at is now they closed the local location, which tells me that they're getting ready to shut many locations. Because it was actually a profitable store. A bit of a bummer as far as that goes. I don't miss working for them at all. It was a corporation that was drowning fast and making horrible decisions, but I just heard that they closed, but that particular manager had left way before the pandemic. His leaving caused a bunch of drama, and I miss him, though. I kind of do, which takes me by surprise, because he was a person that had many moods. Sometimes he was a dick, and sometimes he was the nicest manager I've ever worked for. And I could joke with him, which I don't know if I could say that about many bosses, that I could joke with them. And now I'm my own boss, and sometimes I don't even know if I can joke with myself. So, hey, I hurt my own feelings. Now, I remember one of his buddies came in, and I had just started working there. And you know how it is when you first start working with people. You don't know their personalities, and you're trying to guess what they're about. And his buddy was giving him crap. And his buddy was like, yeah, I bet he's just horrific to work for. And I said, I had worse. And I don't know why that took them both by surprise, like they had to think about it. And I don't know. For some reason that stuck in that particular boss's head, and he would, I worked with him for about 6 years, and he would bring that up every once in a while about, am I still not the worst? And he actually wasn't half bad. So, here's a funny for you. He is not, like, he could get by with technology, but not well. Definitely a classic boomer. He didn't hate technology, and he put up with it, but he definitely didn't embrace it. But anyway, we found a subreddit for that company, and a couple of coworkers and I were on it, and we would look at it, and it made him mad because we were getting info before he was getting info, and he just couldn't wrap his head around how was that happening. And we explained to him that other stores were posting this information, and we were getting it from Reddit, and he's like, no, you can't be on there. The company doesn't approve of that. You need to get off of that. And we just sort of laughed. It's like, you're not going to keep us off of it. Good try. Like, he didn't understand the concept of the website. Nor did he understand how, or maybe he did. But the nice thing is it helped us police our store and compare it to the happenings of other stores. Both good and bad. Like, there was things that we figured out because of our boss that we actually didn't have it half bad as other stores. He did, I would say, out of any bosses that I ever worked with, he was a really good, I'm going to say umbrella, but he was a good shield against the crap that the corporation did. As best as he could. Like, there's some things he just simply couldn't shield us from. And we would have to put up with. But he did do his best. I think the only time he and I ever truly butted heads, and it was over the stupidest thing, and later we would have a conversation about how stupid was it that we butted heads, it was over the dress code of shoes. So I have a teeny tiny little feet, which makes sense because I'm a teeny tiny person. I make that sound like I'm a little person. I'm not a little person, but I am short, and I have little feet to go with my short stature. And finding the shoes that was in the dress code, which the dress code was stupid, it just didn't work for me. And so I actually had a doctor's note that I have, I still have the doctor's note because this was so much trauma, that says, due to the nature of the size of my feet, if I have difficulty finding good supporting shoes, that an exception must be made for the dress code. And I would promise to try to get as close to the dress code as I could, which the dress code was black shoes. And it was very rare, because I wear kid-sized shoes. It's very rare did I find all black shoes. And so it didn't help that another coworker who worked maybe 5 hours a week, would always come to work in bright neon colored shoes, completely ignoring the dress code. So anyway, my boss saw him wearing those shoes and he got really mad. And so in his head, he decided to compare it to everybody else's. It suddenly made him aware to pay attention to other people's feet. And so at that time, I think I worked with him for about 2-3 years. And he was just suddenly like, I'm going to look at your feet. And realized that my shoes, while they did have a lot of black to them, were not all black. And he told me that I had to go find black shoes. And I got mad because he was just so condescending and such a dick about it. So I showed him the doctor's note. But 2, I told him, go shopping then. Find me all black shoes that were comfortable and good for feet, that for someone who has to stand them on them all times. And we had a pretty good solid week of him going back and forth about my damn shoes. But not much he could do because, again, I had the doctor's note saying that I could wear, what shoes I wanted to wear. And that pissed him off. And I don't know why. I don't know why that particular, the color of my shoes was such a thing. And I even, I was a dick back, I'm not going to lie. But I even mocked him. I said, yeah, a customer's going to come in and be like, oh, I was going to go to her to ask her for help with my printing, but I just noticed she was wearing, her shoes had a pink design on them. I know she can't help me. And that, of course, made him mad. He went on about, the company's image. And I'm like, the company's image is that it's fucked. It's not, I didn't say that. I said that the company is in trouble. And he didn't like that either, even though it was true that the company was in trouble. At that time, it was going through one of its many, many mergers that it would try to do to try to recover from its poor decision making. But anyway, we fought about it for a week, and then suddenly one day he just was over it. He was like, I'm done. And he just completely dropped it. And I would point to him, much later. It was a couple years down the road. I'd be like, what was that all about? What, why did that get so stuck in your craw? And he never did answer me about it. But, oh, and I also told him, too, in that week of when he just would not leave me alone about the shoes, I'm like, fire me then. Fire me over my shoes. Please. But he also couldn't do that either because I was what was upholding the print center. So, and this was all way, way before the pandemic was even a thought. But yeah, anyway, that place is, I drove past it the beginning of the week and saw that it was completely dark and the name was completely off the front of it. So I had a bit of a moment. I did have a bit of guilt because when the pandemic happened, so, of course, the pandemic, March 2020, I take care of my parents, and they take care of me, I guess, if I'm being honest. I have elderly parents, and I am not a super healthy person either. I have a lot of lung issues that I knew COVID would cause a problem, but COVID would definitely, impact my mother greatly because who is all lung issues. And I was trying my best to keep social distancing at work, and nothing I was doing was doing it. None of the social distancing was working. Customers and clients would just walk right up to you, get right into your bubble. I would wear a face mask. They wouldn't wear a face mask. Like, it was such a huge issue for me. But I was calm waters on the outside and turmoil on the inside. And the poor manager, who was actually a very young guy, who got the position, he was smart. Don't get me wrong, he was smart and he was probably really good at his job. But I was older than him. I actually had been in retail quite longer than him. And I was frustrating for him to deal with because he couldn't pull the manager crap that he could with the others. But anyway, he was trying to keep the store together during the pandemic, and it was a store that benefited from the pandemic, I'm not gonna lie. When the pandemic was at its height, that store, I think that was the only thing that kept that store going, was because of it was what people needed during the pandemic. The ease of it. But anyway, I just walked up to him and I said, hey, I have a month's worth of vacation time, I'm gonna use it. And I was like, I'll see you back, in a month when the pandemic calms down. Well, it never did calm down, did it? So, I never ended up going back. And they kept the position for me for over a year. But, since it never calmed down, I never ended up going back. And I have a bit of a guilt for that because my coworkers and I at the time, the OGs, we went through a lot together, keeping that store floating the previous couple years before that. And so I imagine, I know, me just leaving the way that I did probably really, really sucked. And while I know the corporation, probably didn't even know my name, as far as my coworkers go, I feel a little bad that I never went back and I left them in that kind of lurch. But, I wasn't going to get sick or get my parents sick on their behalf. Like, to try to keep them happy. They're pretty high ceilings. I don't know if I want to do scorch earth on this. Unless I do scorch earth in this elevator. Possibility. I just realized... Oh, no, it's cool. I just realized there was like a thing there, and I was like, oh no! Was I supposed to be going up? Was there a whole nother floor? Thinking if I do scorch earth in the elevator. I do plan on stacking. Another bucket. I need a bucket! And in fact, I actually do rarely play with other people now. I guess I should make a comment on that. I try to say, I do get asked often if I want to co-op and play. I don't co-op anymore in Viscera. I'm annoying to play with, and I recognize that about myself. I am a mix of wanting to be thorough, but I also have a bit of an ADHD brain when it comes to it. I get easily distracted. I'll act like I'll have a plan, and then suddenly I don't. And if that's not the story of my life, I don't know what other statement there would be. I guess while I have your attention, and we got nothing else going on. This office place that I worked for. So my boss, the boss I was telling you about, he left. He had some health issues, but also he didn't like the direction that the corporation was going. He wanted nothing to do with it. And he was pretty close to retirement anyway, so he got headhunted by a larger company, and he decided to go to that company instead. And he vacated, and it actually left a hole of who was going to replace him. There was someone that was going to replace him that had been on the books, but they didn't work out. And so then it was going to be this other person who was going to replace him, and that didn't work out. And that became the name of the game. It was like every time they had someone, it wasn't going to work out. Well, there was this, he was a manager at the time, but then he got big into his britches and decided that he was going to be manager. And he went for it. And actually, a very funny story is he was slated for it. I don't think he realized it, but he was going to get the position. But then he did what was called metric manipulation, which basically he took a survey. It was one of those stores that did the survey. You know, the cashier's like, hey, at the bottom of your receipt, there's a website you can go to, and, you know, we ask that you give us all 5 stars because it really helps let our boss know how well you... Yeah, that was the spiel. Anyway, he faked that survey on his home computer and used his own name and gave himself a 5-star thing, and that's called metric manipulation, people, and you really shouldn't do that. Now, I can't say that every company cares about it, but the funny thing is when I was hired replacing a person who was fired for doing just that. So he would claim later that he didn't know he couldn't do it, but we all know that was a bunch of BS. But anyway, he did the metric manipulation and got caught and was fired. And the thing is the only reason why he did the metric manipulation was he was trying to impress the boss at the time to show that he should be the manager because he's did such a good job. So anyway, so his being fired caused a lot of problems, because there was another manager at the time who really resented the fact that he was fired. And the thing is the reason why one of the leading reasons why he was led to being fired was he was also encouraging that person to do the same thing. And that's a big no-no. So anyway, it caused a little bit of drama, and they rage quit the company over that. There was a few other things too. They thought they should have been promoted. and they were basically told they were too new to the company. They didn't have a great history of getting along with people in the short time that they were with the company, and the district manager was like, no. But after those two left, it became this thing. We were so short-staffed and trying to run the store, and the district manager was doing a horrific job at finding someone to come in and act as a store manager. And so all of us survived that together really well. I shouldn't say really well, but we survived together. And that's what I meant when I said I had a bit of a guilt over that. I went through all of that with him, and then I was up and left with no notice. It was absolutely no notice. I went to him one day, late, I can't remember if it was March or May now. I think it was March. The pandemic was March, right? I think. Anyway, when the pandemic was kicking off, I just went up to him in the end of the month and was just like, hey, I got a month's worth of vacation and I'm out. And I didn't even let him argue with me, because I knew that there was nothing he was going to say that would keep me there. You know, like there was nothing he could do. I already, behind the scenes, before I even said anything, tried handling it on my own. But yeah, so I feel a little bad. I know my leaving the way that I did put them in a bind. But again, to the corporation, I was no more than a stapler, so they didn't care. Hold on, I gotta take a little pause. I gotta text message a client. I'm gonna really regret it. I should have taken a nap today and I didn't. And I'm gonna be really bummed about that later. Do anything? Oh, I just saw myself looking up. I don't know what the lever did, if the lever did anything. That crowbar right there and that gun are both collectibles. No. I think I'm gonna stop here, and I will be back soon with more, I promise. I think this map is probably gonna take about 3 episodes to do, give or take. Go from there. Thank you guys so much for keeping me company. I will be back soon with more.